Hello my fellow pin enthusiasts, Aaron here with another fountain pen video for you. And I did a poll to give all of you the option of voting to see which pin review you would like to see first, the Penbbs 268 or the Moonman M600S. This one happened to win out so far, so we're going to go with this one first, and then of course the M600 will follow not too far behind. So first things first, I did want to show the packaging, a little bit of a updated packaging from our Penbbs pin coffins with those magnetic enclosures. And I like this packaging, it looks nice, I think, it's outer paper sleeve, reminiscent of some other Moonman models as well as TWSBI models, especially once I get the container out. Here we see our designation on the back of what pin it is. Of course, I got the clear glass, which is the only color as of right now that they're offering, at least from what I've seen at the time of shooting this video. Now, we'll go ahead and open this up. It's a little bit kind of hard to get this out. And then we see now a frosted coffin here. Again, very reminiscent of TWSBI. We've got Penbbs down here, and then of course established 2005. And we've got a little bit more information on the back of this pin. It actually tells you it's the 268 vacuum filling pin. We'll pop this open. I have not filled this pin yet. I've barely even taken it out of the package. I only really took it out to show it off in the pin news video. Take it out of the sleeve. And all that off to the side, and we'll lay it down. So my first impressions is it's a vac filler, and it's reminiscent obviously of the 456. The overall design of it, of course, mimics that pin almost identically, with obviously differences. Number one being that it is smaller, and we'll do some sizing comparisons for those of you that definitely want to see that. We'll go and compare it to the 456 as well as the 355, just because filling mechanism wise and ink capacity, similar type pins, obviously different but also similar at the same time. Now let's really kind of go over the parts of this pen first before we jump into those sizing comparisons. So obviously it is a completely transparent pen, which I love. I love transparent pens, and clip wise, very nice functional clip, works well, it's springy. You've got your clear finial up top. You can see that nib very well. I love the fact with these Penbbs pins, unlike some other brands that do like a frosted inner cap liner or a gray or something like that, I love the fact that it's completely clear. It just looks nice because you can really see that nib. Cap band is on the smaller side. I think it's in a good placement though. It helps reinforce this part. We'll see that this one states Penbbs there. We've got a logo here that I can't really see that well. Probably be able to make it out better once done editing the video. We have 268 there and the same thing there. And I would have to get my loop out to really be able to tell for sure. I'm sure someone will tell me down in the comment section. Of course, we see our rod here and the nice, clear, transparent barrel here. And then, of course, we have our blank cap back here, or our knob, so to speak. Really, I mean, that's the pen in essence. As far as uncapping it, I haven't really even done this. Oh, less than one turn. That's nice. So looks like we're looking at about 3/4 of a turn. Just hit my tripod. So nice uncap. Very, very slight step down with the barrel. The threads are machined very nice. You don't even notice them. You do kind of feel that step down, but it's not sharp necessarily. And I think the section is decent enough to where you're not going to be feeling that step down unless you just have very large fingers. Of course, it tapers down just slightly and then flares out at the end. And then as far as the nib goes, we have that Penbbs fine nib with the upturn. And then, of course, we all have seen really the nib and the feed before. So there's really nothing special there, about the same thing. Same thing, I was getting ready to say we have a screw and nib unit, but I don't think that's the case. And in fact, that is not the case. So this is the first Penbbs pen that I personally have gotten that does not actually have a screw and nib unit. going to pause the video and take this out off camera just to make sure I'm correct on that, so I'm not giving misinformation. But I'm pretty sure there's no actual nib unit. It's just friction fit into the actual section. All right, so we're back, and in fact, this is a friction fit nib and feed. So different. I don't have any issue with that. I don't know. I mean, it's in there good. From what I can tell, there is no key. You know, generally, sometimes you'll see like a cutout. It just simply places in however you want to put it in the actual section. So interesting to note, of course, here is your nib and your feed. Always remember when you're removing these, I've made the mistake of grabbing that fin and tearing these fins up. They're very, very easy to destroy. Using something like a rubber gripper is always a good thing. And just grab it from kind of the sides there and pull out when you take the nib and feed out. That way you don't damage these fins. They're very, very easy to damage. Hey, I'm glad that I did that, because I was going to tell you guys the wrong information, but it is not an actual screw and nib unit. So different, again, than what we've seen on most of our Penbbs pens. All right, so I'm going to put this back together real quick. I'm going to do it off camera. It's just easier to do it that way versus doing it over the camera. And then I'm going to bring out my two 456 pins first, and we'll start doing like some sizing comparisons and compare some of the different parts of the pins to see how identical they are to each other. All right, so I've got both of the 456 that I own, and I've put them in here with the 268. Now, of course, you can tell there's a pretty substantial difference in overall size. The other thing is, I mean, you know, 456 pin has a pretty decent weight to it, especially here in the front half with this clip, and the band is nice and hefty. And I will say that the 268 definitely does not have as much weight, of course. There's some weight there, but not nearly what the 456 has. But I would say that balance-wise, the cap on the 456 is pretty heavy, which sometimes when you post that, to me, it kind of throws off the balance. Whereas this 268, I haven't posted it yet, but it definitely, at least it feels a little bit more balanced, just holding it like that. Of course, we'll compare the acrylic ones. Our clips are a lot different. I'm not a big person with clips as long as they have a nice form and function. This one, you know, is really nice and springy. They're both springy in my opinion. Now, the other difference is you see obviously the finials are different. This one kind of with that where it screws in. This one looks like we're faceted. I didn't look inside of there, but kind of see how that is attached in there. And it almost looks like it might be glued or just friction fit in there. I don't see any threads anywhere. Now granted, that looks a little bit like a bolt, so there probably is some threads in there somewhere. And in fact there is. You can barely see it, but it does look like there is a flathead screw in there. So, you know, as far as the design goes, obviously our cap bands are different. It's smaller here, smaller pin, smaller cap band, larger cap band here. You know, piston rods are about the same. You know, barrel wise, you can tell that the diameter or circumference of the 456 is definitely larger than the 268. You know, back here we've got a much bigger metal band here than we do here. I mean, it's just a smaller pin in essence. It's literally a smaller version to the 456, just like it's marketed. But at least gives you an idea of what it looks like as far as the differences go. Now, before we do any other sizing comparison, I really haven't even unscrewed this piston knob to make sure it works. It does. Definitely feels good. You hear that pop. Sounds really nice. The other thing is, the barrel does unscrew just like the 456. A lot of nice tension, which you always want. You have your O-ring back here. So the barrel definitely unscrews. It does what it's supposed to do. Let's see if we hear that really nice pop. And we do. Kind of hear that suction almost when you do it one more time. Got a little bit closer to my microphone. So, I mean, in essence, you know, that's what you want. Really nice, a lot of tension there. So it's going to seal up really nice whenever you fill this with ink. Shouldn't have any issues with leaking or anything like that. Now, let's look and see how these pens stack up uncapped. Go and do it real quick. Normally do this off of camera. And then we can also compare these sections as well. So of course, the 456s are larger in their uncapped form. Now, both of these 456, I like their sections. I find them very comfortable. Really, I find the pens comfortable hold all the way around. I think their ergonomics are nice, and you know, I haven't obviously written with this one yet. So this section, I think, will be a little bit different. Obviously, it's smaller. You don't have to deal with the metal threads though, but I don't mind these at all. And I generally, because of the nice concave design, it's I love concave sections. It just feels really comfortable to hold. This one, I don't find, it kind of reminds me of like a Moonman M100 section, maybe a little bit fatter, but as far as the overall design or how it kind of just slightly tapers down. So if you're not a big fan of that, it might bother you. Now, as far as it posting, it definitely posts. I think it posts actually pretty well. I think it almost posts better than the 456. As far as weight goes, it definitely, you know, is weighted a little bit more towards the front. I think it's balanced nice. I don't find it heavy at all because it posts deeper. The 456, I generally don't ever really write with posted because it just, this clip and this band, it just to me kind of makes it a little bit more back heavy. But I don't write with my pens posted. If you do write with them posted, you may love it posted. That is just my personal preference. So there we kind of see the pen stacked up against some other 456. Let's toss in, just for sake of argument, a 355. Obviously, you know, I think section wise, the 355 is a little bit closer, obviously larger, but the overall idea of the section is about the same. All number 6 size nibs. We really have 4 different nibs though. So that's one nice thing. So we've got our 2 456 sections here. We've got a medium nib. This is that Twisby nib, that Pendleton's pens nib. Here's our fine with the upturn, and then this one here is a fine two-tone with an upturn as well. We'll see how this one writes. I'm not a big fan of Penbbs fines. Sometimes they're a little dry, but we'll see how it writes. I'm going to definitely use the nib. And then we can check it out real quick in the posted form. I'm just going to post these two just to give you an idea. So of course the 456 is a little bit smaller in the posted form. You know, overall length, it's about not a huge difference. To me, it's not enough of a difference to make it where the pen's unusable, even if you have large hands. But the overall circumference and size of the pen is smaller. It's noticeably smaller, especially in your hand. If you write with a couple pages with a 456 and then pick up the 268, you can tell a big difference as far as size goes. Or at least I can. So there you have it. I think, so price-wise, before I move on to the next part, which we're going to probably post up some dimensions and everything for you. Pricing-wise, this pen is going to cost you anywhere between $23 to $30. You know, I don't think they're selling out too terribly fast, but I wouldn't necessarily wait. I'm sure we're going to get restocked on them, though. Maybe we will see these pens in different colors. I have not seen anything on social media yet that gives me the idea that we are, at least not right now. But I'm sure at some point we may. So I'm going to post up some dimensions. I'll do the circumference, of course, of the section. I'll go and do one of the barrel as well as the overall length of the pen, so it gives you an idea of how that pen is. And then we will ink up the pen and we'll do it on camera as well. All right, everybody, we are back and we're going to jump into our writing sample here. All right. So again, this is the Penbbs 268. And this is with their standard fine nibs, got that upturn. So far this one writes pretty good. Now we'll see how it writes, over a prolonged period of time. I have not written with this at all, so this is my first writing. Pen definitely is lighter, definitely much lighter than the 456. But I don't find that to be a bad thing. Of course, you guys saw the ink I'm using is Private Reserve Spearmint. Do an actual writing sample here. I mean, so far the ink, it does well. I mean, I have no complaints about the nib at all. It's very smooth. A little bit wetter than most of these Penbbs fine nibs I get. They're usually definitely on the drier side. This one's a little bit wetter. Kind of glides across the paper nice. It writes well overall. Not a nib that you're going to get any line variation out of, so don't expect that necessarily, but I think it does a good job. If you put a little bit more pressure on it, it will obviously spurt out more ink, of course. Reverse writing, it's very scratchy, which it has that upturn, so it's not really going to be a nib that I would do a lot of reverse writing, but it's possible. I mean, you get like a extra fine, like a needle point almost there. But all in all, I like the nib. I think I'm going to probably leave this nib in this pen for a while. A little bit of quick writing, see if we have any skipping. I think this ink definitely suits this nib very well. I like it. I like that the section feels nice. I am finding myself holding it up a little bit higher. For my size hands, I have like I'd say about normal. I wouldn't say my hands are abnormally large by any means. It feels good unposted. But this is a pen, even though I don't really ever post my pens, that I could write with posted fine. It posts well, and I don't mind writing with it posted. So this is one of the few that I can definitely do that with. I paid, I got it off the Penbbs official store on Etsy. It was $16.99, and then I paid, of course, $6 shipping. So obviously $22.99, $23 basically is what I paid for it. I've seen it on eBay for around $29 to $30 as well. It's still available, so check it out, get you one. I like the pen a lot. Penbbs vac fillers are great. I think everybody should at least own one. Whether you get this 268 model or you get the 456. I would say overall build quality is not as nice as the 456. If I had to choose between the two, I would still go with the 456 and pay a little bit more. I just feel like this pen is just built nicer. It's a little bit heftier. I like those metal threads. They feel good when you cap and uncap this pen. It just is a nice build quality. Not trying to take away from this one. I just, it's not as premium feeling as the 456. That's just my honest opinion. Now, you may have a different one, but I do like the pen. With that being said, I do like the pen and I approve it. I think it's a great buy. Get you one. All right, until next time, everyone, take care. I will be working on the Moonman M600S next for the next review and get that posted in the upcoming days as well. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.